Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer on Cal Newport's game-changing book, Deep Work. In a world literally overflowing with pings, rings, and just endless notifications, we're going to explore why intense focus isn't just a nice-to-have skill anymore. It's actually the ultimate superpower of the 21st century. Let's get right into it. To really grasp why this matters, we kind of need to look at a tale of two wildly different work environments. Think back to 1922, right? The pioneering psychiatrist Carl Jung actually built himself a two-story stone retreat out in the woods, the Bollinger Tower, specifically to isolate himself so he could think deeply and advance analytical psychology. Now, contrast that with today. We've got these massive open office plans, like Facebook's 10-acre expanse, which sure, they're designed for serendipity, but in reality, they just generate massive, constant distraction. So, Newport breaks our efforts down into two distinct camps. Over on one side, we have deep work. These are professional activities that you perform in a state of totally distraction-free concentration, pushing your cognitive limits to the absolute brink. This is the good stuff, the stuff that creates new value and really improves your skills. Then, on the flip side, we have shallow work. Think answering routine emails, Slack messages, or those logistical tasks you can easily do while half distracted. Shallow work is easily replicated, and honestly, it just doesn't add much new value to the world. And that brings us to the core hypothesis of the whole book. Because network tools, like your social media and your overflowing inbox, are constantly fragmenting our attention, the actual ability to perform deep work is becoming incredibly rare. But get this, at the exact same time, a rapidly advancing information economy is making it increasingly valuable. So what does this all mean? It means those who actually cultivate this rare skill and make it the core of their working life, they're the ones who are ultimately going to thrive. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll cover the deep work hypothesis and why it's valuable, rare, and meaningful. Then we'll hit the 4 rules: work deeply, embrace boredom, quit social media, and finally, drain the shallows.
Starting things off with part 1, valuable, rare, and meaningful. The idea behind deep work.
So economists Eric Brynjolfsson and Andrew McAfee identified 3 specific groups that are uniquely positioned to really thrive in our new economy. You've got high-skilled workers who can command intelligent machines, the superstars who are the absolute best remote talent in their specific field, and the owners, the folks who have the capital to invest. Now, if you want to join those first 2 groups, you have to be able to learn hard things quickly and produce at an elite level. And both of those tasks absolutely require deep work. But if deep work is so incredibly valuable, why is it so rare? Well, enter the metric black hole. This is such a fascinating concept. Basically, because businesses can't easily measure exactly how much money they're losing when employees are constantly distracted by endless emails and open office chatter, they just default to what's easiest to see: visible busyness. They accidentally embrace distraction simply because actual deep productivity is just too hard to track. But it's not just about economic value. Deep work actually generates this powerful state of flow and profound meaning. The science writer Winifred Gallagher summarized this beautifully after a devastating cancer diagnosis forced her to completely reevaluate what truly matters in life. She said, "I'll live the focused life because it's the best kind there is." Decades of psychology back this up, showing that rapt attention literally hijacks your brain to view the world as rich in meaning, while a distracted mind tends to just fixate on the negative. All right, let's move into the practical stuff. Rule 1, work deeply, moving beyond good intentions. Here's the truth. Relying on sheer willpower alone to focus is going to make you fail. Instead, we need to minimize that willpower drain by picking a depth philosophy that actually matches your lifestyle. There are 4 main ones. First up is monastic. This is where you maximize your deep efforts by completely eliminating shallow obligations, kind of like a reclusive novelist. Second is bimodal, dividing your time clearly, maybe taking a 4-day weekend just for deep stretches, similar to what Carl Jung did. Third, we have rhythmic, creating a regular daily habit so you maintain focus every single morning. And finally, journalistic. This is for those already super confident in their focus abilities, fitting deep work into the schedule on a moment-to-moment basis whenever time magically opens up. The key is just finding the one that fits you. Moving right along to rule 2, embrace boredom, training your concentration. Listen, if you constantly flee to your smartphone at the slightest hint of boredom, like, say, waiting in line for your coffee for 5 minutes, your brain actually loses its capacity for laser focus. To train those concentration muscles back up, Newport suggests this highly sequential process he calls productive meditation. First, find a period where you're physically occupied but mentally free, like walking the dog or driving. Then, focus your attention on a single, well-defined professional problem. And here is the kicker. When your mind inevitably wanders, you continually and ruthlessly bring your attention right back to the problem. It's literally like doing reps at the gym, but for your brain's focus circuits. Next up is Rule 3, quit social media. Rejecting the any benefit approach. To overcome that addictive pull of our network tools, we need to apply the law of the vital few, which you might know as the 80-20 rule, straight to our digital habits. The idea is that the top 20% of your activities provide the bulk, like 80%, of the benefits towards your goals. We so often justify social media because, hey, it might offer some minor connection or benefit, right? But the reality is it's rarely in that crucial top 20% of activities that are actually driving your true life and career goals forward. So I want you to ask yourself a really hard question right now. Do your network tools actually support the vital few activities that matter most to your success? If they don't, or if the constant distraction they cause vastly outweighs their minor benefits, you really need to step back and justify your own use of these tools. Please, don't sacrifice your deep work for minor conveniences. And finally, Rule 4, drain the shallows, taming the footprint of shallow work. To really cull that shallow work, we have to acknowledge a hard biological truth, and it boils down to this number, 4 hours. That is the true limit of a highly adept human's daily deep work capacity. Seriously, even the absolute masters of focus tap out after about 4 hours of intense cognitive strain. What does this mean for us? It means that grinding away late into the night is almost entirely low-value shallowness. Once you hit your limit for the day, you just need to shut down and let your brain rest. To protect those precious 4 hours, Newport highly recommends something called fixed schedule productivity. This absolutely forces you to get organized. You set a firm, non-negotiable goal of quitting work at a specific time, say 5 p.m. You literally schedule every minute of your day in blocks. You objectively quantify how deep or shallow every single activity is, and you become exceptionally hard to reach via email. By doing all of this, you're forced to ignore trivial distractions and prioritize a highly efficient shallow to deep work ratio. Well, we've covered a ton of ground in this explainer today. Cultivating a deep work habit is incredibly demanding. It requires you to totally rewire your habits and push back against a culture that practically worships constant busyness. But as we've seen, it is, without a doubt, the superpower of the 21st century. So the final question remains, and it's a big one. Will you just join the distracted masses, or will you choose the lucrative, deeply meaningful path of the focused few? The choice is totally yours.